Hit subscribe on YouTube if you haven't yet. I appreciate that very much. Give the video a thumbs up. You approve of the content. Notifications on you be alerted every time there's a new episode. Don't want to miss anything. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish Inc. Emails, alwaysirishinc@gmail.com. Audio only anywhere you want me. You can give me call in line 312-900-8815. A lot more information about that is coming your way as the season approaches. Stay tuned. Before we get into this, I got to give a big prayer shout out. Kevin, my Notre Dame homeboy from Canada, heart attack yesterday, almost lost Kevin in the ambulance. He has made it, and I assume resting comfortably and rehabbing. Keep him and his family in your prayers. His wife is ill too. He's been dealing with that. And now this, it's just been a lot for Kevin and his family. Love you guys. Great people. I'm going to campus next week. I'm going to light a candle for you guys. So if you could spare an extra prayer, do it for Kevin and his family. They've had a really rough run health-wise, okay? Thoughts and prayers are with you guys. So let's get into this. Camp is flying by like it always does. We're all excited to get to it, and then it breezes right by. Now that things are taking form and shape, let's look at some players and or general items or other people that have stood out so far. Here's the first thing. Freeman's camp approach and vibe. Very matter of fact, you need to be available. There's no easing into this. A dynamic of urgency and toughness. Two key features that'll very much be needed if you think you're going to compete and or beat Ohio State week 1. Physical, just no easing into it. I need you to be available and come here ready to do what you need to do the entire practice. All right? That's kind of the vibe. Now, here's one thing that I do think about with this dynamic is I wonder how much of this calculation's going on in Marcus Freeman's head of, I'm one of the guys. We did the recruiting, the video in Vegas. Like, I could be one of the guys. We're laughing. We're the best friends we ever had from the Hangover video, all that. And I'm wondering if now he's feeling the urgency to create that line in the sand. Like, I feel like these guys respect Marcus enough that he's younger. One of the guys likes their music, is hip, wears the same clothes and all that. We all love all that for relationship building, player-coach dynamic, all that. It's healthy. It's the opposite of what the previous guy was like in that realm, all of that. But I wonder if Freeman's feeling an urge to draw a line in the sand that now all that, let's hold hands and dance around all summer's over. And now it's winning time. And I'm wondering if he feels the sense that he has to make sure they know, I could be cool and hang with you guys, but I could be pretty damn demanding, and I'm going to ride your ass too. Because we need to get some things done, and there's no easing into this against Central South Bend Community High School. It's Ohio State. So I need you ready to go on your stuff, knowing what's going on right now throughout camp. So I just wonder, I think these players respect Marcus enough that they wouldn't take advantage of the fact that he's a player's guy, more like one of them than the last coach, and that it will actually be the opposite, that they respect that so much they want to give Marcus Freeman more than they would a guy they don't relate to in that way. I think that's there intrinsically because the Notre Dame student athletes are a different type of breed. And I don't see Notre Dame's culture at a place where guys are going to take advantage of Marcus in that way. But I do wonder if there's a little bit of him being an extra hard ass this first camp, just to make sure everybody knows, I'm a nice guy all summer, but we also need to get things done. I wonder if there's a little bit of that edge that's a little more than you might see in a couple years from Marcus starting camp, because he wants to set that tone and make sure everybody knows I'm a nice guy, but don't test me. We have stuff to get done and only 2 weeks to do it. And we're playing Ohio State at the Horseshoe at the ball game to win. So that's one, the camp approach and vibe. I respect it. Physical, I need you to be available. I liked that Marcus said, I have a vision of this camp and what we need to do to get in a good spot for Ohio State. And we're not changing that vision as far as what we're going to do. You need to make yourself ready. Do whatever you got to do to make yourself available and ready for these practices. Okay. I like that. I respect it. Some of this is going to be tweaked. Marcus needs to see what works and what doesn't this camp and then adjust from there. Moving on to the next line item. The offensive line looks big and long. That was to be expected. All right. They look big and long. I want to make sure toughness, Harry's toughness, comes along with that. All right. I want to make sure that, like, big and long is one thing, but that missing little factor is I want Harry's toughness instilled back in this offensive line. That little bit of edge, that little bit of extra, that little bit of after the whistle, but not too much. That's what I want out of this group. Big and long is great. You need that to start with, but I need to see that Harry toughness come back into this program and be a part of the reason we're moving people all over backwards. All right. I need that out of this offensive line. I want offensive line scraps in a barn off campus to see who's tough enough to play, which was a vintage Frank Leahy move. That's what I want. Frank used to bring those recruits, let them fight in a barn against each other, against McBride, the offensive line coach and offensive coordinator, used to have to push him around in a barn to see who was tough enough to play offensive line for Frank Leahy. Are you too scared to scrap with the offensive line coach? You're going to get down and dirty at an off-campus barn. That was the measuring stick. You tough enough or no to play for Frank? I love it. So big and long is great. I need mean. Mean has to be a part of that equation. It just does. Harry's back. I expect that to be back with it. Another thing, Al Golden. The first thing I think about when I see that name on my bullet point is just respect. That's the word that comes to mind. Everybody's saying Al Golden's a great guy and a Notre Dame fit. Almost got the Notre Dame job when Kelly got it. Finished second in that battle. I feel like guys want to prepare and be ready to perform for Al Golden. That is great. And if you get that to a large extent, him not being the most dynamic young recruiter like some of the top guys on the staff in terms of recruiting are, that can make it worth it. When you have a guy that you know just has that defense under control, getting to the next level, the guys know when you're playing for Al Golden, you got to show up ready, on top of it, know what you got to do, know where you got to be, and stick to it or you're not going to play. There's a lot of respect in the industry and in the building for Al Golden, and I like that. I really like it. It's a great blend. I've talked before. I love the fact that Al Golden's been around. Head coach in college, coach in the pros. He's seen it all by now. That is a guy Marcus needs to lean on this entire year and have an open door policy where you say, Al, I'm giving you the opportunity at any time to bang on my door and say, Marcus, here's what I'm seeing. We might want to pivot, or I want to run something by you. That's a big deal first year. That could help Marcus move down the road to being a head coach. Have a mentor like that in your building you can lean on, that you respect and everybody else does. Chancey Stuckey. Reports sound like he's doing a lot of teaching out there. Perfectly understandable when you look at what's going on in the wide receiver room. Before I hit record on this episode early in the morning, it looks like Watts is taking reps back at receiver. He was receiver, then switched to defense. Now he's coming back to offense. You just don't have the bodies. So I respect Watts's willingness to do what the team needs and bounce around. I respect the hell out of the kid for that. That's a tough journey. Changing your body, changing your mind into those different roles is very hard. And you got to respect Watts's willingness to do that. because it's just what the team needs. At the same time, it's an embarrassing disgrace that we're in that position, that the University of Notre Dame is pulling guys off defense and switching them to receiver. That's amateur hour. It's embarrassing, and it highlights the problems with the previous regime and why they could never get over the hump. That is an embarrassing depth issue to have at this point, especially for as good of a program as Notre Dame is. It's not a struggling program. 10-plus wins the last 5 years. They're doing a really good job. It's embarrassing. You just can't end up there. We're not going to be there when we get a couple years down the road. But for now, it's an embarrassing joke. Totally embarrassing. All right? But it sounds like Stuckey. Guys want to learn from him. Guys want to play for him. But you just there's a lot of teaching at this point that has to happen by Chancey Stuckey. He's dealing with so much young and inexperienced guys out there. All right. This is the number one position group I'm most interested in seeing how it goes this year, because it's super thin and not where you want it. So I got to see how they're going to navigate that. Boy wonder Tommy Rees, the NFL genius of all play calling geniuses. You're going to have to get creative, buddy. Earn that label as the creative genius, forward-thinking offensive mind. All these things I hear in the industry about Tommy Rees, you're going to need to whip them all out. You're going to need to whip them all out. So get very, very, very creative, because you're going to have to be to make this offense work with some of the limitations, depth-wise, experience-wise, and reliability-wise of knowing what you're going to get out of certain guys. Now, that brings me to players that seem to have stood out so far to keep an eye on, either from seeing it in the little vignettes they put out of showing some of what they allow you to see in practice, or the beat guys that are there and they're kind of seeing who's popping a little bit, making some plays. Again, this is not a perfect science. The media is not there every day. It's not a full picture body of work like you see you go by what you're allowed to see and the media access that you have and the stuff they put out. Merriweather, undersized, but can make some plays, learning a lot. What else do you expect? The guy's right out of high school, and he's going to be pushed into action at Ohio State week 1. Welcome to college, big boy. Welcome to college. High school a few months ago, under the lights at Ohio State with the chance to shine and seize a starting job. Good opportunity. Very good opportunity. But he's got a lot to learn, and Stuckey's working with him on that. You got a guy this young, you're dealing with raw talent, go run, catch, turn. There's a lot of fundamental stuff Stuckey's going to have to work on with him. There ain't time to learn it. So go out there and make plays against Ohio State. It's the best I could say. Great chance for him. Great chance. Jaden Thomas, same things, nagged injury a little bit, but great opportunity for him as well. These young guys, they have an opportunity where they need to go out there now. And for them personally, for me, I would like experienced guys that I know are good coming back that I can rely on. So it's bad for us, but it's good for them. You have an opportunity to seize a lot of snaps this year. You're going to need these guys. So step up and make a play. And you got a big opportunity, and you better do it before all the reinforcements come the next couple years at wide receiver. Establish your spot, okay? So they're not coming in taking yours. Great motivational opportunity for the young wide receivers. I love it. Styles looks like Notre Dame's clear number one go-to, and I got news for you. He's got to be it. There is nobody else to assume that role. He's got to be that, and he's got to be healthy, and he's got to be great to make this all work. That's just the dynamic of the wide receiver situation where you're at. You need that. It ain't an option. He's got to be a one alpha dog you can rely on all year and stay healthy. Oh, John, you're asking for a lot. That's what it's going to take to make this wide receiver room function. Also, He looks damn good at kick returner, and you all know how I am with my special teams. So if you could get that guy released on some rocket stuff, shoot him into the sky. I got one over here, one over there. Rocket Man, that's what I need to see. All right? Let him do it. Kick it to him. Let him take it out. One cut, and you're gone. Moving on. Running back Esteme's pictures are very interesting from this camp. Very interesting. It's super clear to me he's reshaped his body to be more agile, but also without giving up his brute strength that we were all impressed by as a recruit and from the photos last year. This guy has a chance to turn into Jerome Bettis Part 2. They're going to need him early in the year. Establish yourself and make it so even when Diggs is back, they can't take you off the field a lot because you were running people over and you're just killing them. So the idea was, I was thinking coming into this camp, picturing Esteme's body the way I remembered it. That sounds a little weird coming from a 37-year-old, but you know what I mean. Picturing his body and remembering it. I didn't expect to see him slim down a little bit. He just looks not leaner because he's still big, but more agile, but without giving up the strength. So like reshaping that lower body or something, because he looks very, very different. He's got a great opportunity to be physical. And a lot of people are expecting him to be your north-south, pick a hole, blow through people, get 3 more yards after contact. I think he might surprise us and be a lot more agile side to side this year than what anybody's expecting, including Notre Dame people. I'm excited for that. On defense, I say this a lot, but Maris Leofau means a lot to this Notre Dame defense, and he was sorely missed last season. I love having him back. It gives me a ton of confidence in the middle of the defense. I know that he knows where to be, how to get guys lined up, and he's a wild man out there, and he likes to hit people. I like Notre Dame defensive players that like to hit, and that's the one thing he always talks about. The guy loves to hit, and I love that, and I miss him. Welcome back. The middle part of that defense looks and feels way different with him and his energy in there. I love it. Love it. Welcome back, Marist. Wild card, Tuihalamaka. Keep a lookout for a role. More than a few times this camp, I've heard his name brought up. Keep an eye out. Up front on D, Howard Cross has flashed a bit. If he could get after it and wreak havoc on these offensive lines, that is a huge deal. Because then you're not looking at a guy like Howard Cross as a stopgap to give your main guys a breather for a few plays or whatever. If he could cause disruption and penetration as well, that defensive line we already think is a strength just got a lot tougher. Also, Riley Mills looks like a beast on a mission to seek and destroy. It is his time. He looks fantastic. I like his mentality. I expect big things from him this year, and so far, so good from the camp reports. He actually looks like an absolute freaking monster, and I'm quite frankly here for all that. Cornerback Jaden Mickey will see the field often this year in these sub packages. Often. You need depth there. You need more guys. Notre Dame always needs more good secondary players. My entire life, I've never seen them have enough to my liking. All right? Good to see a young guy like that step up, and he is going to be needed in those sub packages. He's going to be out there a lot. Gain some confidence, make some plays early, start off your career great. All right? So those are some that pop out to me, some general themes that stand out, some individuals that stand out. I want to know from you guys, who am I missing that should be on the list? What am I missing that should be on the list? Is there anything you would take off my list? I know one thing. I'll finish with this. I've been thinking a lot about what a big environment it is to go to Ohio State right away in a night game. And I was thinking back to the blue and gold game when I had a chance to meet Tyler Buckner at an after tailgate party deal. I don't think he's going to get rattled. I'm not saying he's going to play perfect or play great. Ohio State has a lot to do with that. I just don't think he's going to fold under the pressure and not be able to perform because of that. Meeting the guy, California cool, laid back. I don't think he gets too high or low the way I do. I admit that's my personality. I run hot or cold all the time. I don't think that's him. I think he's kind of just stable, doesn't get too high or low. I like that vibe from a Notre Dame quarterback, especially a young one, and especially one going into the dynamic we're going into in a few weeks, couple weeks. You're going to need a guy cool, calm, collective, isn't riding those emotions high or low, a stabilizing force that can get things done. The vibe I got from meeting him is he ain't a guy that's going to get rattled. It just felt like his blood pressure is the opposite of mine. His is pretty stable, and mine is going up and down depending on what's making me mad every 10 minutes in life, right? So I like that dynamic with his blood pressure personally. That's just my feel on it, right? So let me know what I missed from early camp stuff. Let me know what you want to add. Football's almost back, folks. Embrace it and enjoy it. It's been a long wait. We've been patient. It's almost here. Have a good one.